What's up? I just want to tap in with y'all because I was listening to Shahid Bolson. And, all things are as they should be. The universe is its own living organism. There are no coincidences. I'm in the shower and I'm just listening to him. He responded to the Luigi Manzioni situation. I hope I said his name right, but the man that killed the CEO of the healthcare company. And he made a very great observation, and it highlights this thing that men in America have been saying. When you sit there and try to alienate men, you end up getting these things. And men are the backbone of observation and responding, not reacting. Observation and response. And he made this great observation. He read the Luigi. He read the guy's book or his last statements of that nature before he was arrested, things of that. And he was talking about how, what is a very famous or infamous quote on how once peaceful protest is no longer good, violence is the only answer. And he made a great observation. How is somebody who's a part of the winning system coming to that same conclusion as if he's a part of the lower classes? I don't know about you, but that's something that, men in America, the ones that have been cast out, alienated, made to be the villain, we've been sitting back, especially the foundational aboriginals, I like to say aboriginals, indigenous men of America, the true natives, not the ones that we see on Google or on TV. No, those are what are called $5 Indians. No disrespect to them, but that's the history of them. Paper genocide, things of that nature. Um, but the true men of this landmass, we've already seen this coming inevitably. And I used to sit back as a kid and hear the men talk, including my father, including many other men, come to the same consensus. And it's a genuine conversation on how, like, look, the power structure is already crumbling. And this was, 20 years ago now. As a young boy, I've been really adept at the conversation and languages. Um, and hearing these men talk, they knew, at a certain point, what goes around comes around. That's a law of the universe. We try to put people names on these laws, but the fact is, the universe has been around long before people. But what goes up must come down, and we see so many people now, a part of these power structures, saying no to what they are bound to inherit. And when I say people of these power structures, I mean like your Baron Trumps, your Luigi Mangionis. You can even say Elon Musk, son or daughter. The one that got Elon Musk fired up to push the Republican Party and Donald Trump because he lost his son to wokeism. Things of that nature. It's not sit here and be prophetic or anything like that, but like I try to remind people, we operate in 1% of the visible light spectrum. So there's 99% of things, 99 plus, because we don't even see the full 1%. There's 99 plus percent of things going on in the universe that we can't see, that actively play on to the 1% that we look at with our eyes. And our eyes is technically our brain because it's made of the same material. But I digress from that. Point is, I'm listening to him and he's making a great observation. The system is failing, it's crumbling. This nation, which is a very young nation, is learning young lessons and it's getting its young consequences. The colonization that took place on these lands, especially upon the indigenous natives, you know, it was done out of bad faith from the school systems and the school systems, the Curtis Act of 1895 in that ballpark, because about 20 years later you end up getting uh, not the Rockefellers, not the Morgans, but what's the guys that came over and brought the school systems because they had all that excess petroleum. They were oil tycoons overseas. um, I'm pretty sure you know who I'm talking about if you do your own reading. And it's not to say that I'm sitting here doing all the reading. There's just so much information out in the world. How are you not informing yourself of these things? But point is, when people do start informing themselves of these things, because the snowball has already been rolling, it's an inevitable slope of consequences. Um, Again, we can even take to the $5 Indians how on paper the true natives, when we said, all right, when we're at a peaceful stage, we already got y'all here. Let's just, document who's here and things of that nature. You have people trying to preserve their lineage, preserve their wealth by sitting there and taking identities of natives and mixing their bloodlines out of bad faith yet again, and then stealing wealth and resources. So when you hear people talking about that 40 acres and a mule that was supposed to go to the true indigenous people that look like me, that may look like, what we call black people of today, a lot of black people still don't know that most of us don't come from Africa. There's a lot of immigration throughout the years, of course, but the ones that aren't going anywhere, the ones that feel they're tied to slavery, a lot of that slave trade just took place in the Americas. You're more than likely to come from South America than you are from Africa. Not to say some don't, but hold on, I'm lotioning my legs. I say all that to say, when you sit back and look at it, this is the consequence. You wanted integration because, you want to preserve your bloodlines, your lineage, and things of that nature. Well, this is the cost of it. Your offspring has been in classrooms with people of lower classes. And they sit there and see how we're played upon by the same system that they're benefiting from. So as you get into your adult years, you think they're not paying attention to this? You want them to be intelligent. How could you expect them to want a system that they're going to inherit, knowing they have peers and people that they have come to love suffering, and they're going to be the ones controlling that? The metaphorical chickens are coming home to roost. And I thought that was great. I thought that was very great. Shahid Bolson, I believe is his name. He made a great observation. There's men all over the world, and I try to tell my peers, or at least advocate to my peers, hey man, there's no reason why people in other nations should know more about our nation, and we're the ones living here. There's no reason for that. You feel me? It's a lot going on. I'm gonna keep hammering it home. We're at a golden age. We're at a point in time where, if this was a video game, and let's just say this was GTA, this is the bank robbery heist. You have an option right now where the power system can sit there and say, hey, we're gonna get out early. The alarm sounded. That we know the police are coming. Let's get out early and get what we can. Or we can sit here and keep going and get the biggest ice we can get, and then try to outrun and live on. I got some lotion on my neck. I'm gonna get that. And right now what we're witnessing is them saying, F it, we're gonna shoot out with the police. Choices and consequences. I mean, certain things are inevitable. Even now, it's still hard for people to believe that, there aren't as many white people in the nation as we want to believe. People come over from other nations understanding that this is a color class system. It's not just a class system. And it's not to say racism isn't a thing. However, this is a color class system. So now when you sit there and look at it from the lens of a color class system, what happens? Oh, well, yeah, more white people are sitting here on government aid. So more white people get those resources. But it's not to say that all these people are actually white. Shoot, Candace Owens just talked about it with Kamala's family. They come from a certain system in India, a class system in India, that when they come over here and it's followed on documentation, they're listed as white. This is nothing new. People have been talking about this for ages. The only difference is now we have the technology to sit here and have this conversation in real time with multiple people all over the world. And it's not to just say America's the only one going through this. How many nations are sitting here suffering the consequences of the fact that they've been doing dirty dealings? Shoot, look at what Israel and Palestine is going through right now. A lot of people just keep sitting here talking about October 7th. October 7th, you sit here and say, all these podcasters who were fortunate enough to have the money and were smart enough to leave while they could and set up their own podcast on YouTube and say, oh, October 7th is wrong. We need to get Hamas and Gaza out of here, things of that nature. But this is a 1,000-year war. People are still thinking small term. Humans have been here for hundreds of thousands of years, depending on the theory you believe. But we also know that we have trousers, pants, found in America, older, arguably about 9,000 years before the founding of Egypt. So humans have been around for a long time. Pants have been around for a long time. And you mean to tell me that this all started a couple years ago? Oh, this all started a couple generations ago with the 67 Accords, 64 Accords, whatever, whenever that time frame was. Oh, please. This is a religious war for people that can't see past the third dimension. We know there's multiple dimensions and we sit here and act like, oh yeah, God is this, God is that. No, there's energies. Energies have been around for forever. This planet has been here for billions of years. What was the energy 500 million years ago? That's 500 million. So the energy of today is starting to play on to the third dimension. Gosh, I'm spitting, but this is real stuff. You trying to relay some stuff here. From the age of Pisces to the age of Aquarius, we use these metaphorical markers, for lack of better terminology, just to identify the energetic time period that we're in and what we're bound to expect due to certain energies and experience due to certain energies. Well, and again, I'm not saying here saying, hey, Luigi Mangione is right for killing. I'm not saying here saying we all should just upheaval and go to war. But as a man, you're sitting back here thinking about it and you're paying attention to what's going on. And we understand war and how people behave, nature and things of that nature, how nature plays on and how we fit into nature. My gosh, I got so many thoughts in here. You understand certain behaviors end up happening because that was the consequence of certain actions in the past. Hey, the ancestors of the Luigi Mangiones, the next generations that are to inherit this system that aid in oppressions and systematic overhandings and underdealings, they don't want to take part of this. This is the consequence. You didn't want the peaceful protesters like your Malcolms and your Martins and your oh man, how am I blanking on his name? There's so much information in my head. He was killed on his front lawn with his family watching. Not Marcus Garvey. He was a good man too. Please forgive me, but where peaceful protesting was, making leeway, you wanted to assert, and when I say you, I mean the government powers, they wanted to assert their dominance through bad faith and murder and fear and things of that nature. So now when you sit here and try to pass that on, it's like, how could you expect the next generation to want that? This is the inevitable consequence of these things. I express it, the universe is its own living organism. How could you not expect the universe to sit here and try to balance the scales? Our soil isn't even all that healthier anymore. You got people sitting here trying to go after RFK Jr. for the fact that he wants to look into the health industry. I mean, you sit there and look at these ladies on The View, so you're not using your critical thinking skills. You've been so used to reacting and you're so entitled to men, catering to your every will and manipulating, you can't even sit here and see, yeah, it actually would be a good thing to fact check. Do we really need these vaccines? I mean, polio sounded good. The polio vaccine might have worked. To tell a giant lie, you need some truth. So if you're going to BS people for a long amount of time, you got to give them some good stuff. I mean, that's how war works. So I just want to put my thoughts out there. Who am I? I'm nobody. I'm just a young 24-year-old. I used to scrub toilets for a living. What do I know, right? Ciao.